Okay, hello everyone. This is the Mgtow Cowboy coming at you again. Tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about a subject I was thinking about, and I'm going to title this one "It's Your Job Not to Be Desperate." This talk is going to be about how men need to start to exert more control over their sexuality. They need to more properly rein in their sexual desire for women, and I'm going to explain why, and I'm going to explain some of the negative consequences that can befall men if they don't. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about some other possible options. So to start, it's a man's job not to be desperate. You know what I mean when I say desperate. Thirsty, horny, desperate. Okay? In fact, I posit the idea that the number one way men actually get caught up in our society is by interactions that they have with women that end up going sideways, where something goes wrong. And I believe that that's because men end up doing the worst possible thing. And that is they end up compromising their standards. Let me give you a couple of scenarios. Or let me ask you a couple questions. Number one, have you ever broken off a friendship? Have you ever had a woman come between you and another one of your friends? Have you ever had one of your friendships broken off because of a woman? Or have you ever spent money on a woman? Have you ever spent money that you didn't intend to spend because of a woman? Or a variation of that is, have you ever spent more money than you intended to because somehow a woman wanted you to? Like, let's say on a date. There's many ways that can happen. Or have you ever done anything illegal for a woman or because of a woman? You can ask yourself these questions. I remember a long time ago, this was like a lifetime ago, back when I first started university, I knew a guy in college who smoked a lot of pot. We all smoked pot back in college. And him and his girlfriend smoked pot, but she smoked more pot than he did. He could make a bag last like a month. Or maybe not a month, but he could make a bag last 3 weeks. She would go through a whole bag in like 3 days. Well, guess what would happen when they were out? It was time for someone to go and get another bag. Well, he ends up getting caught. Okay? And you have to understand, 15 years ago or whatever, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, it was still illegal to smoke marijuana in Chicago. Marijuana was still illegal. Now it's legal, but back then it was illegal. Well, boom, next thing you know, he gets locked up. It was kind of a minor charge, but I do remember he got screwed because I don't know all the details, but like when you get caught, or like if you're convicted of like a drug crime, or if something, I don't know, if you're convicted of a drug crime or something like that, you lose access to, I think he lost his Pell Grant. He lost some of his scholarship money. And, I remember him talking about that, and it was a lot of money. It was like thousands and thousands of dollars a year that he lost in free money because of a simple drug possession charge. But anyway, that's just one example. So yeah, basically, it's men's erotic ardor or their sexual desire for the female that allows all of this to happen, if you think about it. What would happen? What would happen if men en masse, what would happen if men in large numbers, if they got control of their sexual desire for women? What would happen? Well, very simple. I can tell you what would happen. Men would gain power. And of course, as I spoke about in a prior video, there does exist game theory, right? The more power you have, the less power another person can have. So by that rationale, men would gain in power and women's power would go down. Men's power, men's influence would grow, and women's power and influence would wane. Okay? So, if you think about it, most of the power that women have over men, it comes from sex. Which means it comes from you. It comes from your desire. I'm not saying you want to get rid of that desire. I'm not saying you can. Side note, it does kind of wane off as you get older. For younger guys in your teens, your 20s, I definitely understand. I definitely remember, it could be pretty strong, but it does wane off. It does level off. Yeah, it's your sexual desire for women that actually gives them most of the power that they have over you. So, right? So in conclusion, or in the final analysis, what does that mean? Okay, here comes the Mgtow again. So if you want to get your power back, you need to get control of your sexuality. That's basically what it means. You need to rein that in. You need to make sure that your sexual desire doesn't lead you to compromise your standards. In fact, I'm reminded of Terrence Popp. You guys probably know Terrence Popp. Terrence Popp, Good Pop, Bad Pop, or I think the name of his company is called Redonkulous. He has a good saying. It's that you can't F what you can't F, or you can't screw what you can't screw. He uses the F word. I guess I'm going to try to minimize using curse words, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And I guess shout out to Terrence Popp if you ever hear this video. I respect your work. It's pretty good. So anyway, the last point I wanted to talk about was the idea of looking into other options besides long-term relationships. And of course that includes marriage, right? And that of course includes cohabitation. I have never tried a doll, but I don't know. I hear that the technology is just getting better and better every year. A doll is definitely a waifu or a doll. You hear people talking about it. Maybe you want to look into that, right? I remember there was a scene from a movie. You guys remember the movie Blade Runner with Harrison Ford? Not the one that just came out last year. The old one that came out I don't know, the year I was born, back in the 80s or something. There's a scene. There's like a monologue right at the very end of the movie where Harrison Ford, even though he was a police officer, like a detective, and his whole career was built around killing robots, or they were called replicants, even though his whole job was going around and killing these robots, at the very end he comes to accept the robots, and he talks about that. He basically says because he ends up shacking up with this robot. I can't remember. I think her name was, it doesn't matter, Rebecca or something. In the end, he ends up living with this female robot, and the robots are highly advanced. You can have sex with them. I think they can carry their kids they can carry your kid for you, and it's rather amazing, the technology. But he has this internal monologue where he says I used to think that this was an abomination. I used to think that this was totally wrong. Now, I don't care. And then obviously the robots became so advanced that they crossed the uncanny valley. It becomes completely acceptable, and it totally changes his perspective. So if you think that dolls are waifus are wrong, I don't know. Maybe think again. I don't know. And then another option would be, ladies of the night. Yeah. Some people would think that's an abomination. It's totally wrong. You shouldn't do it. You're a bad man. How dare you? But I don't know. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's the institution of marriage that's bad. Maybe the people that want to keep marriage going as an institution, maybe they feel threatened by ladies of the night, by call girls, because that challenges their little monopoly, their little scam, their little hustle. That's how I've come to see marriage. It's a hustle. So yeah, that's another option is get those hoes. And then another option would be porn. I've heard people say like porn, it rewires your brain and everything, and well, maybe it does, but I don't know. I hear learning how to walk rewires your brain too. So I don't know if it's that bad. But the point is, porn, ladies of the night, dolls. These could all be possible alternatives, and these will help you what? These will help you maintain your standards. So there's something to think about, because if you can maintain your high standards, it minimizes your chance of falling into some of these problems that you can run into if you deal with these women. And then last.